Uchenna was born into the kind of poverty that made even the sun hesitate to shine. His mother, weak and frail, held him in her trembling arms, whispering a silent prayer that life would be kinder to him than it had been to her. Their home was nothing more than a crumbling mud hut where rain poured through the roof and hunger was a constant visitor. His father had vanished long before he could remember, leaving only his name as an inheritance. From the very beginning, life was a battlefield. By the time Uchenna was 10, he had already learned that survival was not for the weak. Hunger was a brutal master, forcing him to scavenge scraps from the market floor. One evening, driven by desperation, he stole a loaf of bread, but before he could take a bite, a strong hand grabbed him by the collar. "Thief!" the shopkeeper roared as blows rained down on his small body. The crowd jeered, calling him a worthless boy, just like his father. Bloodied and humiliated, he limped home, vowing never to be powerless again. Despite his struggles, Uchenna's hunger for knowledge was greater than his hunger for food. Every day, he stood outside the village school, watching other children recite their lessons. He longed to be one of them, to escape the invisible chains of poverty. But when he approached the school, the principal laughed. No fees, no education. The door shut in his face. That night, as he lay on the cold floor of his home, he whispered to himself, "One day, I will not be locked out." One evening, Uchenna returned home to find his mother coughing violently, her once strong eyes now filled with pain. She reached for his hand, her grip weak but desperate. "You will be great," she whispered. "Promise me." He promised, but promises could not stop death. By morning, she was gone. At 15, Uchenna was alone in the world. No home, no family, only a burning promise and an even greater hunger to prove that he was more than the world believed him to be. Determined to change his fate, Uchenna found work as a mechanic in a dusty roadside garage. He spent his days covered in grease and sweat, fixing cars he could never dream of owning. One afternoon, a sleek black SUV rolled in. The man who stepped out was none other than Chief Okongwo, a billionaire businessman. He watched as Uchenna expertly repaired his car in minutes. "What's your name, boy?" he asked. "Uchenna." Chief Okonkwo smirked. "Come to Lagos. I have a job for you." For the first time, opportunity knocked. But was it a blessing or another cruel trick of fate? Lagos was everything Uchenna had dreamed of. Towering skyscrapers, flashing lights, and endless possibilities. But dreams in the city came at a price. Instead of a prestigious job, he was given a mop and told to clean floors in Chief Okonkwo's company. The men in suits sneered at him. "You thought you'd be a boss? You'll die a cleaner." But Uchenna refused to be defeated. At night, when everyone left, he worked in secret, designing a revolutionary car engine. He believed that if he could just prove himself, his life would change. Then came the ultimate betrayal. His manager Daniel stole Uchenna's designs and presented them as his own. The boardroom erupted in applause. Uchenna was fired, left with nothing. Again. Now homeless in the city, Uchenna wandered the streets, his dreams shattered. Just when he thought things couldn't get worse, a figure emerged from the shadows, Maduka, a ruthless loan shark. "You owe me 50,000 naira, Maduka growled. "Pay or disappear." Trapped between debt and despair, Uchenna had reached his lowest point. But even a drowning man will fight for air. One day, as Uchenna fixed a broken-down car on the roadside, a woman watched him closely. She was Madame Titi, a wealthy investor with an eye for talent. "You have skill," she said. "Work for me, and let's build something greater." For the first time in his life, someone saw his worth, and this time, he would not let the opportunity slip away. Uchenna poured everything he had into his work. He designed engines that revolutionized the automobile industry. This time, no one could steal his ideas. The world finally took notice. At a grand unveiling, Uchenna stood before flashing cameras as he presented his new car prototype. "How did you do it?" a reporter asked. Uchenna smiled. "I never gave up." One day, an unexpected visitor walked into Uchenna's office. "Chief Okonkwo, I am your father," he said. Uchenna stared at the man who had abandoned him long ago, the father he had once wished for. Now, he was a billionaire's son, but he did not need his father's name. He had already built his own. As he turned away, he knew he was no longer the boy born into nothing. He was now the man who had built everything.